It's late, and you've almost made the last train. Opal card tapped, earbuds in, one hand jammed in your jacket against the cold. Down the platform, a dog swings its head toward you and sits. An officer is already off the wall, unhurried, easy. And by the time you've got one earbud out, he's close enough to say it quietly. Mate, I'm going to need to pat you down. Not a question. Feels like one, it isn't. Here's what the fluorescent light won't tell you. That dog doesn't have to be right, and in New South Wales, the records show it's wrong most of the time. What you do in the next 30 seconds, empty your pockets or explain yourself, decides if you make that train or spend the night with a bloke who already had his notebook open. Most people never even see the trap. Tonight you will. So the dog's sat down, and now he's watching you, waiting for you to fill the silence. Because the silence is doing his work for him. Here's the first thing nobody tells you. A pat down doesn't need a warrant. But on foot, in this state, it isn't free either. Before he can lawfully run his hands over you, Section 21 of the Law Enforcement Powers and Responsibilities Act, LEPRA, the rule book for every stop in New South Wales, requires him to hold a reasonable suspicion on reasonable grounds that you're carrying something you shouldn't be. The whole night hangs on those two words. And here's the part that should sit you upright. The one thing on this platform that can turn his shaky hunch into solid grounds is you, your pockets, your story, your nerves, narrated out loud. There's one sentence that ends this cleanly, and you'll have it before we're done. First, the test a court uses to measure them. Watch his eyes. They go to your jacket pocket, then back to your face. He's doing sums, deciding whether he's got enough. So let's measure what enough actually means. Back in 2001, in a case called Rondo, the New South Wales Court of Criminal Appeal spelled out the test that still governs every search on this platform. A reasonable suspicion, the court said, is less than a reasonable belief, but more than a possibility. It needs a factual basis. It can't be arbitrary. And 3 years before that, in Street versus Bauer, the Supreme Court threw out a search built on a vague intelligence tip, because a nebulous "we heard something" isn't a fact. Isn't a fact. It's a feeling wearing a uniform. So run the list on yourself, standing near a dog that sat down, looking nervous, not wanting to chat. None of those, on their own, gets him across the line Rondo drew. Which means the grounds are thin right now, and thin grounds are a ladder. Rung 1, the pat down. Rung 2, if he finds a reason, a strip search. Rung 3, a courtroom where the strongest exhibit against you is the timeline you narrated yourself. If his grounds stay thin, your silence keeps them thin. Your explanation is the thing that thickens them. But before what you can refuse, the part nobody wants to hear, what the law flat out forces you to do. Because here's where most people get it wrong in the other direction, and it costs them worse. His hand is already moving. This is the moment you either comply or make it a great deal worse. So know the toll. The things the law simply makes you pay, with no clever sentence that beats them. 1, you cannot physically resist a lawful search. Resisting or hindering police is its own offence under Section 546C of the Crimes Act, up to 12 months inside. 2, to conduct a lawful search, police may use reasonable force. That's Section 230 of LEPRA. So a wrestle on the platform is a fight you lose twice, once here and once in court. 3, and this is the one that surprises people. In a declared area, police can run a metal detector wand over you with no suspicion at all, under the Act that switched on in 2024. And refusing the wand is itself an offence. This isn't small. Up in Queensland, where they call it Jack's Law and made it permanent statewide from the 18th of July 2025, police reported scanning 173,831 people in a single year. So hear me on this. None of the sovereign citizen scripts work. I'm a free man on the land. I'm travelling, not driving. The laminated card in the glove box. None of it defeats a lawful search. It doesn't end the encounter. It just adds charges. Comply with the toll and you keep the high ground. Comply with the toll and you keep the high ground and the courtroom. Fight it and you hand him the arrest. That's what you must do. Now watch what he's actually doing. Do us a favour, he says, easy as anything. Empty your pockets for me? Or the softer one? Mind if I have a quick look? Feel how friendly that is. That friendliness is the whole trick, because the moment you say, yeah, no worries, and start turning out your pockets, you've just manufactured the grounds he didn't have. A search you agree to needs no suspicion at all. Your consent does all the work his hunch couldn't. And here's the part that should make you angry. He is not required to tell you that you're allowed to say no. That's the safeguard, section 34A. But you can refuse this is a sentence that will never leave his mouth. So the wrong move, the one 9 people in 10 make, is the helpful one. Sure, mate, nothing to hide. And with those 4 words, you've signed the search warrant he could never have gotten a magistrate to sign. Remember the rule underneath it. A real power doesn't ask, it acts. The officer who's certain he can search you isn't saying, do us a favour. The ask itself is the tell that his grounds are thin. Now watch the questions come, stacked like doors. Where have you been tonight? That's door 1. It sounds like small talk between 2 blokes on a cold platform. It isn't. Answer it. And door 2 swings open. Anything on you I should know about? Then door 3. What's in the pockets then? Every answer you give does 2 things. It drops a fact in the notebook and it makes the next question feel ruder to refuse. Door 1 pins you to placement. Door 2 fishes for admission. Door 3 is him asking to consent. Here's the asymmetry. He must give you his name, station, and why under section 202. But you owe him no story back. That street runs one way, and almost nobody walks it the right direction. The wrong move here is the reflex to be the good witness. The reflex is narrating your whole evening to prove you've got nothing to hide, because the timeline can be checked and anything that doesn't line up perfectly becomes inconsistent later. You answer where you were and he builds where you were into a case. Then he plays the card he's been holding the whole time, the dog. The dog's indicated on you, he says, so I've got my grounds. And it lands like a checkmate. Here's what the fluorescent light won't show you. An indication can contribute to suspicion, but on its own, it is not enough. New South Wales police procedures and the case law both say an officer has to look further than a dog's nose before he's got real grounds. The dogs work in named places under sections 145 to 150. But how good is the nose? In 2006, the New South Wales Ombudsman finished a formal review of the drug dog program, and the numbers have never stopped being extraordinary. Of the searches that followed an indication, around 74% found no drugs at all. And of the minority where something was found, 84% were small amounts of cannabis. None of those, on their own, gets him across the line Rondo drew, which means the grounds are thin right now, and thin grounds are a ladder. Rung 1, the pat down. Rung 2, if he finds a reason, a strip search. Rung 3, a courtroom where the strongest exhibit against you is the timeline you narrated yourself. This is the no-win frame, and you need to see both jaws of it. Talk too much, and the notebook reads nervous. Go stone silent, and it reads evasive. The account gets written either way. The only real exit is to give him a location instead of an account, which is the sentence we're building toward. But first, kill the thing in your head that's about to get you hurt. If you learned your moves from an American video last week, forget it at the border. There is no Fourth Amendment here. There is no Miranda warning coming. I do not consent is not a magic spell. It doesn't make him vanish. Over there, a frisk runs off a case called Terry versus Ohio, and none of that machinery exists in New South Wales. Here, two things decide your night. Here, two things actually decide your night. Whether he's got reasonable suspicion and whether you hand him consent. And the thing that protects you later isn't a slogan. It's Section 138 of the Evidence Act, the rule that lets a court throw out evidence that was obtained improperly. Copy the American script and you'll say the wrong thing. Picture how this usually goes. And this is illustrative, the shape of 100 nights like it, not one person's story. A pat down at a festival gate, pockets first. Then, just step over here for me. The dog is theatre. It only becomes grounds if you help it. So you go quiet, except silence has a trap of its own. Because you clam up, and he tilts his head and starts reading you. The NSW Supreme Court found exactly that kind of strip search unlawful in a case called Meredith. The court awarded $93,000 and condemned the flagrant disregard of rights. The only real exit is to give him a location instead of an account, which is the sentence we're building toward. But first, kill the thing in your head that's about to get you hurt. And know this: cross the border and the answer changes completely. Victoria has no general stop and search power at all. South Australia's power is broader than most. This video is New South Wales. It doesn't make him vanish. Over there, a frisk runs off a case called Terry versus Ohio, and none of that machinery exists in New South Wales. Here, two things decide your night. Here it is. Slowly, once. Officer, I don't consent to any search, but I won't resist you. Can you tell me your grounds? Now again, because the second time is the one that stays. Officer, I don't consent to any search, but I won't resist you. Can you tell me your grounds? Screenshot this. Say it out loud once tonight, so it lives in your mouth. Say it once, so it lives in your mouth, and not in a notes app you'll never find at 11 at night on a cold platform. Now every piece of it, because there's no wasted word. I don't consent to any search. That kills the consent harvest stone dead, and it plants your flag for later, because a clear refusal is what keeps Section 138 alive in a courtroom. But I won't resist you. That pays the toll in the same breath. It keeps you the calm, compliant one, and nowhere near a 546C hindering charge. Can you tell me your grounds? That turns his own duty back on him, the disclosure he already owes under Section 202, and it forces the fork. Either real grounds exist, or the ask exposed itself. Say it flat. Calm, polite, forgettable. This is the opposite of a performance. Boring is what ends the stop, because heat is what feeds the notebook. and say it knowing the odds. In 2023 and 2024, of the strip searches recorded, something was found in only about 45%, meaning more than half of them turned up nothing at all. Say it once and he'll push. They always push. The first push comes wrapped in reason. If you've got nothing to hide, why not just let me look? You don't defend yourself. You don't explain. Same words, same flat tone. Officer, I don't consent to any search, but I won't resist you. Can you tell me your grounds? The second push comes wrapped in pressure. You're only making this harder than it needs to be. Bigger. How is never said out loud. That's the point. It's a threat with no shape. Same sentence, same tone. And here's the shield that holds it up, the thing that makes repeating yourself safe. Your refusal on its own can never become his grounds. The court said so in Rondo and again in Street, saying no is not evidence of anything except that you know your rights. He cannot search you because you declined to be searched, so the loop can't hurt you. The push only works if you renegotiate, and you simply don't. Third time you've heard the line now. That's not repetition for the sake of it. That's the muscle memory that shows up when you're cold and tired and scared. Then you reach for the one question that forces the whole encounter. Officer, am I under arrest or am I free to go? That's the fork, and it only has two tines. Free to go, then you go quietly and you make your train. Under arrest or being searched on grounds he's now named, then you comply. Hands at your sides, and every argument moves to a courtroom where it belongs. Which brings us to the moment I promised. The one place where refusing is the mistake. If he genuinely has grounds, or you're standing in a declared wand area, then I don't consent, plus a hand pulling away stops being a shield. It becomes the crime itself. That's the 546C hindering charge, or a wand refusal offence handed to him for free. So the move is never the wrestle. It's comply under protest. The move is comply under protest. The words on his body cam, your hands open, your body still. And you win it later on paper, not here on the concrete. Two quick edge cases. If you're a passenger in a car, a personal search still needs suspicion about you. Section 36 lets him search the vehicle, not automatically the person inside it. And the saliva wipe. The roadside drug test detects presence, not impairment. It says something was in your system, not that you're affected now. Two last people never to be. The over-explainer, who talks himself into the grounds the dog couldn't give, and the roadside lawyer, who argues Rondo at full volume on the platform instead of winning quietly in court. Every one of these, the grounds test, the dog rule, the wand rule, and the exact words, I've gathered in a book called Know Your Rights. It's linked in the description. Waiting for the night the dog sits down near you. Let's put it together. The whole thing, one sentence, said slowly. Officer, I don't consent to any search, but I won't resist you. Can you tell me your grounds? That's it. Carry the number that reframes the whole platform. Field strip searches in New South Wales rose almost 20-fold in 12 years before the courts finally started pushing back, which is exactly why the line matters. And this is general information, not legal advice for your situation. If it's gone past a stop, the video ends and the lawyer begins. Subscribe so the next person you love who walks onto a platform tired and cold already knows the line before the dog ever sits. But if it's your front door they come to instead of a train platform, a knock during dinner instead of a tap on the shoulder, The rules flip completely and the sentence changes with them. That video's on your screen now. And take the ending you just earned. The doors chime shut, the train pulls out, and through the glass, you watch the dog swing its head and sit down beside the next person on the platform. Someone who doesn't know yet. The beam of the headlight's already gone into the tunnel. Your hands are loose in your lap, and the night's behind you.